Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. I am Mariam from Believers Bailout. Thank you for joining us. We are really blessed tonight to be joined by Sister Zeinabou Sall, the Director of Immigration and Social Services of the Mauritanian Network for Human Rights in the U.S. So Zeinabou Sall was born in Nouadhibou, Mauritania, at a time when people were being enslaved and facing racial discrimination. Her home was taken and her entire family became refugees. After settling in Senegal, she was granted asylum by the United States, and she has dedicated the last 20 years of her life to helping women escape from domestic violence situations and human trafficking, while also helping those in ICE detention centers gain asylum status to escape from slavery and human rights violations in Mauritania. She is also the co-founder of the Mauritanian Network for Human Rights. The network has played a key role in informing and educating about human rights violations in Mauritania, but also advocating and informing Black Mauritanians that live in the United States. So thank you again for the work that you do, Sister Zeinabou, and also for joining us tonight. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you, Mariam.
Yeah. So I would love for you to share with us, for folks who've been paying attention, Believers Bailout started a special fundraiser working in coalition with the Prairie Lands Freedom Fund and the National Bail Fund Network to post bails for Mauritanians who are currently incarcerated in immigration and customs enforcement detention centers. If you could tell us a little bit more about this situation that we're raising funds for.
Thank you, Sister Mariam. Assalamu alaikum. And thank you for all the hard work you are doing for the community and then for the Sahara need. So at this time, we're facing a lot of challenges when it comes to Mauritanian detained in a detention center, because what happened in fleeing slavery and then racial discrimination, and then when they cross the border, they are detained by ICE. And then sometimes you have the failure of the CFI because they have no clue in the language barriers. And then we're facing the high bonds, like even given by the judges or the ICE officer. And at this time, they can't stay a month in detention center because there's no way they can pay the bond. Either the family members who live in the US don't have that money to pay, and then when they come here, they come with no money at all because they went across so many countries, they had to expend a lot of money. So when they arrived, and then they are just stuck in ICE custody for a month to be able to get out and then be united with their families or go to any social services to be able to file for the asylum case.
Yeah, so from what I understand, Mauritanians are often flying to Central America, Ecuador, and then making the travel on foot or train or however they are coming up. And then they're applying for asylum at the border.
Yes.
And so can you speak a little bit why Mauritanians are making this journey in seeking asylum?
This is a new journey for the Mauritanians because there was no place for them to run to flee slavery beside some places like very close to Mauritania in West Africa, and then but they didn't feel safe because any protest they will do in foreign country, they will be sent back to Mauritania. And then this new route from Central America, we can say, is a lifesaver for them, even though it's kind of risky. But what I'm saying, they choose to take that route that is in Mauritania. So they spend months and days from Mauritania. They will pass by Turkey to the Mexican border. It's not safe, we know, because We lost so many young um, lives on that route. But fleeing slavery, because we all love freedom. And then in 2023, we really asking our questions why we're talking about slavery in Mauritania, but it's still an ongoing situation, even though it was abolished in since 1981. And then so we have the slavery, we have the racial discrimination against Black Mauritanians, and then some other folks who really, even though they are from that same language of the people on power, but they've been discriminated because of their caste and then of their color of skin. Because what I'm saying, Mauritania, the whole ideology of this country and the system, you have very to be a clear skin to be able to claim yourself Afro Mauritanians. So now this younger generation are taking the route who's not safe to cross the border to come to the US and then to claim for an asylum. And then that asylum is really based for on freedom, not to be a slave anymore. It's come to the point because you are Black, you cannot be Mauritanians, so you have to get out of this country.
Mm. These cases in particular speak to a lot of what Believers Bailout talks about, right? Especially in terms of the connections between the anti-Black racism and anti-Muslim racism also, right? That's happening at the border. But can you help me understand in terms of who is enslaving, right? And who is enslaved in Mauritania? Are they all Muslim?
Mauritania is 100% Muslims. They are not Christian, only foreigner. It's kind of like sad and very disappointing when we say we're all Muslims, but because you are darker skin, you have to be other slaves. And then this is what happening in Mauritania. And then people who are on power, they're all white. They're all Arabs. So it's not, they call themselves Arabs, even though they are not, because the language they speak is Hassaniya, is kind of close to Arab. So, and then they have that ideology. So because we are clear skin and then you guys are Black. So we're going to you are going to be our slaves. And I can see now, we're not even talking about slavery in Mauritania, but we can go way saying is like apartheid, because when it's come to the country where the army has only a white, and then where the places where people live, we have a clear image where Black live and then where those Arabs live, and then we have the schools being completely separated, and then where we have Black schools and then white. When we see the transportation, if I am waiting for a taxi, since I am Black, that driver is not going to pick me up because I'm Black. So the system is not only like slave those Blacks, but we can see that whole picture of the apartheid in Mauritania, and then is ongoing. So, and then we have the statelessness, because what happened after '89 when they expelled Black Mauritanians from Mauritania to Senegal and Mali, because they said, okay, you are Black, you are either Senegalese of Mauritania or Malians, and then when they killed so many Black soldiers in Mauritania because they didn't want them to escape, they were killed. They were killed in a way you cannot just describe. It was the genocide on the Mauritanian army. It was a real genocide for all Black officers, and then high-grade officers were just killed because of being Black. And then we have they've been expelled. So now what they said, in order to prove you are from Mauritania as a Black person, you have to show us like your grandfather's proof of citizenship. But so many villages been burned completely, been erased completely from Mauritania, and then they replaced it by Arabs, and then by Haratin. Because what happened? Those Haratin, they were born and then grow as slaves, and then you find them only in Mauritania. So now let's do this. Let like brainwash this Haratin. Tell them, okay, you help us expel the Fulani, like Soninko or Wolof, out of Mauritania, and then you guys are going to take over, because an enslaved person will believe whatever the master will tell him. So now the Fulani are a problem. So let's take them out of this country, and then you guys can take over the villages. And then this how the killing happened. So those Haratin, they killed because they believe on their master. What they do, that they go into heaven, because they killing those slaves. They killing those people who are not just Arab and who doesn't speak Arabic. Because the Haratin, they do speak Arabic as well, because they were like raised by this white people. So now, how can I prove to the Mauritanian government I'm from Mauritania if my grandfather, all the villages were like burned, we cannot have any paperwork? How can I have a death certificate for my grandparents to prove? So this is how we become stateless completely. And then, so that was not enough at all. So the only thing Black Mauritania had left was the land. At least they can be farming. And then they jumped in on, okay, there is no proof this land belong to you guys, and they were taking it over. So they brought some foreigner who will invest on this land, and then we see the pushing again on Black Mauritanian just to get out of their villages, and then either they can go back to the bigger city, and then this is a tool, as I said, sometimes modern day slavery, because when they go to the city, so places like Nouakchott or Nouadhibou, they can be maids, they can be whatever, but they get trapped, because who are you going to work? This master who expelled your parents, who killed your parents, and then you get a strap. As soon as they start working in their homes or in their businesses, you will not get paid. You will not get paid, and then when you ask for your pay, more likely you're going to be taken to the police station, you're going to be tortured, and you're going to be asked to go back and then work for free. So this is a cycle of the slavery in Mauritania, and then we didn't see a way out so far.
Can you tell us something about the people then who have made this journey and who are currently in these ICE detention centers? Because it sounds like a lot of them have been actively speaking out or acting out against this system of oppression in Mauritania.
Yes, we see a new wave. I think when you are tired, this is where you can speak up. And then first of all, our president Ghazwani, Mohammed Sheikh al-Ghazwani, he's the one who said the army should be only Arab. And then today he's on top of Mauritania because he's a president. And then his tribe is taking over everything. So this younger generation, they are, because even that you don't even have the freedom of speech, because what is bringing this new wave to this country, because we have so many Black activists been killed lately. So the protest, it is the same thing. You go for a process and then you take into custody and then you're not coming out. So they decided, okay, we don't feel safe anymore. We are trying, we're going to find a place. And maybe the easy access at this time is the US. So they believe on the democracy of this country, and then they believe on the politics of this country. So when they come here, they cross. It is a long route and a very dangerous route when they pass through Central America. But what I'm saying is kind of like the history again, because they get in prison, they are mistreated in prison, as detention center. They don't have a right, because what happened as asylum seeker, I think asking for protection. So I cannot just understand, you will be held for a month, and then you're not even given the right to speak to someone or come to visit you, and then you cannot even have a chance to explain your case in your own language, because there's a lack of interpreter. So this is, we see they stay a month and month in jail, and then they are going to be either deported back to Mauritania, where they can face prison or death, or they will be given a high bond. We have no idea why Mauritanians, most of them are Mauritanians, are given from 10,000 to 15,000 bond to be able to just to get their freedoms. So it is like the younger generation who didn't even get chance to go to school, because in 2022, 2023, they said we are going to become an Arab country. There will not be any more French in Mauritanian education. That is no more. It's going to be Arabic. And then that is, as I said, is a new tool of slavery again. So they decide to run away to leave the country before they get trapped, before they get killed. And then when they come here, we see they still in jail since they across the border, most of them.
Mhm. So, can you tell me about the different languages that these Mauritanians are speak, and maybe something about why they haven't been able to find translators for them?
Yeah, most of asylum seeker, I can say maybe like 60% speak Pular. It is a language spoken maybe into a lot of different African countries, but they're all different from dialects. So this is we see sometimes how the system messed up their cases, because if you bring me someone who speaks Pular from Guinea, they are not going to understand my asylum claim because it's completely different. So we have the Pular speaker who are here because they are the one who the genocide hit the most, because somehow the first target from that government was the Pular, the Fulani people. And then we have the Soninka as well. They fleeing because of slavery. And then we have the Haratin who speak Hassania, very close to Arabic. And then we have Wolof, and then we have others who speak Hassani as well. And then because the target is they are not from the same caste as or tribe from the president, or maybe they are blogger, or maybe they seen what's happening in Mauritania, and then they said, hey, you know what, this is a Muslim country, and then why do we have apartheid in this country? Why those people don't have the right as a citizens? And then this one they have to run out of the country to be safe, because at this time the new president is not giving anyone the freedom of speech. It's something you do, you go into jail. So we have four different languages. We have Pular, Soninke, Wolof, and Hassania.
Yeah, and I think you're saying something so important, right? That they are trying to escape a form of oppression, right? In carceral systems. And then after making this long journey, they find themselves in cages again, right?
Yes.
And they end up spending many months potentially in these detention centers. So we've been able to bail out a few already with the money that we've raised. But can you then speak to also to the challenges of what happens after somebody is bailed out?
So we have the lack of sponsorship, because people are running to homeless shelters in New York. And
Mm,
then we have the lack of transportation as well, because when they come out and in ICE custody after the bail is paid, how are they going to be united with the loved one, or to get to any other social services? This is the problem. And then we have the lack of health insurance or medical help, because the journey, honestly, it was not really just as safe. And then we last week we have a young woman, as soon as she arrived in Ohio, a heart attack, and then she was 29 years old or 28 years old, and then it was a young life lost in Ohio at the airport.
mm,
So, and then we have people when they are released, they end at the hospital because their health needs was not taken care of in us detention center, even though when they complain is not really like being taken care of. So we have all these issues. So from the transportation, so they can be united with their loved one, to be able to get them help to any other shelters in the US. And then the health is an issue as well, because the health, and then we have the mental health as well, because the mental health is kind of like you leave your country, you've been like discriminated, you are even been incarcerated, and then where there's no social justice. And then so many things during that route to the US, and then you end in ICE custody as well. So we have the mental health, who's not very met at this time, and then we have fear what's going to happen next. On this for young folks who have this mental health going on. So it has a lot of needs need to be taken care of. So and then we really don't have the resources as well.
So you briefly mentioned Ohio, and I'm wondering if you can speak a little bit about, because it's been an incredible response from Mauritanian communities, right? If you could speak a little bit about those communities and what they've been doing.
Big shout to Ohio Mauritanian community in Ohio. They did a very good job from doing fundraising to get the basic needs. And then we see some families having more than 10, 20 people in their homes. And then we are able to set up a clinic, a legal clinic, at least as we said, no, you're right. And then we are very thankful for some folks and our partner who are able to help us set this. And then we're addressing, even though like it's kind of like taboo in our community, the mental health, but we were able to address the mental as well. And at this time I'm talking to, we're able to open our first community center in Columbus, Ohio. And then we'll be able to help our of this asylum seeker to write down the affidavit, to be able to fill out the asylum package, and then to be able to go through the food bank, at least the donation drive. They did amazing job, and then we are so proud of them. And then even though we were limited and then we were not ready for it, but Ohio community, they did a great job just to support our folks coming out of prison.
And I think right now our fundraiser is about bringing more support to and supporting folks who are doing the supporting, right? Bringing in
Yes.
10 people into their homes and things like that, the way people are reaching out. So I think also if people are interested in sponsoring Mauritanians, is there a way for people to reach out and get involved?
Yes, this will be great because this is the challenge at this time, even for the folks to get after custody, because it's lack of support. We have people who will be able to be housed by family members, but because of immigration status, they are scared to give their address to ICE. But if we can get the route, so anyone can like sponsor these people. Like we had some cases in Adelanto, we have maybe 20 Mauritanians. They've been released, and then they were able to get sponsored in Adelanto and in California. That would be great because they very good people, very peaceful people, and having them out of prison and having them someone to be able to just to give them a hand, and then still they get on their feet, that will be wonderful.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think we're supposed to be a hospitable community, right? And so opening
Yes.
our homes to people who are traveling, right, who are wayfarers and in so much need, is such an important thing that people can do, as well as, giving their zakat and sadaqah to help these, help in freeing captives and things like that. I mean, I think this is also, especially in this particular context of modern day slavery, right? That this is one way that Muslims fulfill that eighth category, right, of zakat too, as well as to
Yes.
free captives in multiple ways in this instance, right?
Okay. Yes.
hmm Are there other things you'd like to mention and talk about?
People need to know, and then we need a joint campaign on this to take this out. The slavery in Mauritania needs to stop. They're not here for a better life, but for a safety, because no one deserves to be a slave. We all need to live free. And then we asking a joint campaign for everyone who believe and this is not okay, and then to be able to help Mauritanians who lived here for a decade, because we have Mauritanians who come here since 1980s, and then because of the language barriers and all the barriers, uh, with the system, they weren't able just to get their asylum, and then they were sent back. So, or we have this separation from children and their parents. So this campaign, we need each of us to be able to be an ambassador, to be an advocate for Mauritanian is going to alleviate the pain of this suffering Black Mauritanian being for a decade, because the cycle of slavery is not going to go in one day. Is we carrying that for years, and then
Mhm.
it's time at least to for younger generation to be free, and then we are the one who will be able, inshallah, to help them, and then put pressure on this government to say this is not okay, these are your children. When we believe we are Muslims, when we believe on our faith, when we believe this is not okay, I think we need to sit down together and then see to remove this is slavery, because not only this Fulani Soninke, because the Harati never had that privilege when others have, because you don't even know who's your father, or you're not even going to grow up with your mother, because you will be given to someone else. And then what type of human are you if you have to do that to your own people? This needs to stop, and then all together we'll be able to do something to just erase the slavery in Mauritania.
Yeah, no, thank you. It brings the how we talk about abolition really to the fore, right? It really puts
Yes.
it front and center that these are abolitionists actually who are currently incarcerated, right?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then last week we have one an advocate, a former slave. He ran to Senegal, but he was sent back to Mauritania, and then
Mm.
no one heard about him. So it's kind of like the system need to just see what is going on when we talk about, okay, slavery was abolished in 1987. So what happened next?
Even in the United States, right? Like our whole system is part of the afterlife of slavery here, right?
Yes, either in Mauritania or here. If you are as I talked to young man, he said I was chained from top to bottom. It was kind of I was a criminal. So this is a trauma of someone who's fleeing slavery. And
Mm-hmm.
then thank you so much. Mr. Jazakallah, for all the work and all this fundraising you're doing to free this Mauritanian in ICE custody.
Mm-hmm.
Really appreciate it.
Well, Jazakallah khairan to you, Zainabou, for the work you and the Mauritanian Network have been doing, as well as for joining us today to talk about the situation. So thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.